Welcome back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again are my co-hosts, Richie and Alec. The new athletic director at Rutgers University has been formally announced. Keli Zinn is officially hired as Rutgers athletic director. We'll get into that introductory press conference, some of the things that were said. And also today, day 2 of training camp for the Rutgers football team finished up. There was a couple players who spoke to the media afterwards. We'll get into what they said. But first, big news item. We talked about the decision had been made last pod, but this was the introductory press conference. You guys were both there. President Tate spoke and kind of stole the show. I thought with some of his metaphors and, some of his answers he got from questions. But Keli Zinn was introduced to the Rutgers faithful. What were some things that stood out from what she said that kind of resonated with you? Let's start with Richie.
I think she's just a really good public speaker. I think we kind of knew that, though, just based on the little clips that were out there and videos and all that other stuff. I just thought she answered every question very politically correct. She said the right things. She won the press conference. I mean, it's very hard to lose a press conference, and we talked about this on the side with the media group. And the only guy that really did was Deshaun Foster last year at UCLA. I mean, that's pretty bad. You got to know where your school's at. So she does know it's in New Jersey, so that's a good start. But yeah, no, I thought everything she said was good. I got to ask her about facilities. We didn't get many questions in. We only got to basically ask one. Some guys got to ask two. But I asked about facilities, and she kind of hinted that, like, hey, she saw some of the things, and she knows that there needs to be upgrades to some of these too. I feel like she almost kind of said the rack was old, which we all kind of knew. But it also has to be go on.
I think her word choice of, some arenas are on the older, or I forget exactly her terminology, but the fact she used the word arena was it's definitely a little telling.
There's only one. Like, well, I mean, unless you really consider college have gym, an arena, which no, not really. So yeah, it definitely needs upgrades. And I'll tell you right now, I said this last pod and I'll say it again. She was about to blow up the Pistol Pete Maravich Center and build a new one by 2029. If she's willing to do that at LSU, where they're winning stuff, like a women's basketball national championship, they're very competitive in men's basketball, I feel like she's not going to hesitate to do that here, especially because it was Pat Hobbs' plan originally. Now, his original plan, I should say, was technically to renovate, and they looked into it, and it's almost impossible to do, it sounds like. I don't know what you do, but I think when she goes to a couple games this year, she'll probably be like, okay, well, for starters, bathrooms, figure it out. But neither here nor there. That's so far down the line. But I think the fact that she was very talkative about facilities is always a good sign. I think that there's a lot of things that need to be done between Jersey Mike's Arena, indoor practice facility for football. Is the lacrosse stadium still a plan even? Who knows? Maybe. Yes. I don't know. I'm sure Greg would probably want to get him out of football. So maybe it will be one of the first agenda items. But yeah, no, I just thought overall she answered all the questions pretty well. No one tried to throw her like a tricky one or anything like that. And yeah, I just thought it was a really good press conference. And I think Steve Twitty tweeted it out, but Keli Zinn, want to know.
Alec, what about you? What did you think of the introductory press conference? Anything that stuck out to you?
Yeah, like Richie said, I thought it was really well done. The thing that kind of stuck out to me, it's just like, it was no nonsense type vibe, which I know was much easier to do it in a press conference before the work actually starts to get done. But I thought her mantra that she repeated a couple times was, we are going to attract the nation's elite. And when Steve Twitty asked William Tate, the vision for developing the athletic department, he said the one thing is to win. And that was I thought it was a really good, I guess, rallying mention. Yeah, I can eat the W's. A really good rallying mention to signal to the Rutgers fans that they're not here to mess around. They're not here to put off anything that gets in the way of winning. And she was asked a lot about NIL and fundraising as well, which was some of her best features when she was at LSU, which she was able to do there, and also at West Virginia. So what I asked her, she's worked in the Northeast region a couple times, whether in the Big East or at Maryland a while ago. How do you plan to build some relationships and just and try to raise money, among other things. And one thing that also kind of stuck out she mentioned in her answer, it's obviously all about relationships. And I think one thing that helps is her husband worked at Illinois in the past, in the last couple of years as well. So she's got a lot of bases checked in terms of she's worked for the Big East Conference itself in the compliance department, but then she's also been a higher level executive in the athletics department in the Big 12 and the SEC, and now obviously running the show in the Big 10. So just a lot of experience all over the place. I thought it was that was pretty good. I like Richie said, it's not hard to win the press conference, but I thought her and President Tate did a very good job of it.
Yeah, and speaking of President Tate, I thought he kind of opened things up really well, kind of drawing a very vivid picture of what he kind of sees as the kind of like primary role and responsibility of an athletic director, and he compared it to like overseeing an archaeological dig, where you need to kind of understand the layers and all the different generations of the past to interpret and shape the future in a better way. And I think President Tate definitely had the mic drop moment of the press conference as well, which I'm going to actually play because I thought it was that good.
Very visible at
starting day one.
Turn this down if it's too loud.
Question for President Tate. We haven't really had an opportunity to meet you yet either. Just curious, you were very visible at the LSU sporting events, very active. What is your vision for Rutgers athletics? What do you hope that this program will become?
Win.
Somebody's got to just like make the hardest edit of all time with that, but I'll let him finish his answer.
I mean, it's not very complicated. You want to develop young people so that they have a set of experiences together, and they not only grow academically, but they grow developmentally so that they could go out and be successful, winning in life. And simultaneously, while they're developing that skill set, you want them to take their genius that they have, because you don't get to play sports at a place like Rutgers and not be an athletic genius. They're in the 99.9999999 percentile of individuals who do the sport they're in. They may not actually win every single game, but as individuals, you just from 3-star above, you're in the 99 percentile. So the realities are they have demonstrated a genius. What we want to create are the support structures so that genius comes together collectively so that they can win individually in life and win collectively on an athletic field. And I think that's possible here. We're winning in research here. If you had gone back in 1940 and said, would Rutgers have $950 million research dollars, you would have said no. Somebody had to believe. If you would have said Rutgers would be in the top 15 of public universities in America back in 1940, I'm reading a history book now, so that's my benchmark. You would have said no. Somebody had to believe. So I fundamentally believe that we can create a winning culture across the board in athletics where the student athletes are winning in life, but collectively they're winning in their competitions. And so it's just about winning. It's just real simple for me. I don't make it complicated.
Love that answer, because that should be the number one goal. It shouldn't be anything more. Everything falls underneath winning at this level of competition, and I just love that answer from him.
Star rankings matter. He said it. 3-star.
He did make
He's one
surprising
of us.
Recruiting ranking.
Just
mentioned
saying,
there.
maybe he's on the boards. Can't say if he
Could
is
be.
or not, but.
So anything else stand out for you guys, either from the media scrum that you guys were involved with afterwards, or from the actual presser itself that we wanted to touch on before we change topics here?
I don't really think so. Like, she didn't say anything too crazy. It's all very basic stuff. It sounds like her husband's probably going to be involved in some capacity, aka he's probably not at Illinois anymore. I don't know when that was also updated, because I think the last time I saw it said like January 2023 is when he was hired. I don't think he was at Illinois while his wife was in LSU, because I feel like that would just be like kind of weird, because you just never see each other basically. But he was there rocking the Rutgers red, Rutgers tie, and everything. So I'm assuming he's going to be involved in some aspect. He was something with revenue. I forget what it was, revenue generating or something at Illinois. But I mean, former West Virginia guy. I think he played football at West Virginia too, right?
I think he was a kicker. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of interesting ties. I would have liked to dive a little bit more into like her like learning of New Jersey. Has she been in New Jersey before? Because West Virginia was part of the Big East, obviously. She was in the Big East Conference. She was at Maryland. Rutgers played Maryland a couple times in football. I'm intrigued to see how heavily involved she's going to be with football too. Not just from a facility standpoint, because we know she's going to have to help fundraise for that facility. But she was also the sports administrator for LSU football. And I mean, it's a pretty notable football program. Like, just won a championship not too long ago. She was part of them bringing in Brian Kelly, and for better or worse for some LSU fans. I mean, I think operating with a big program like that is only going to help her maybe take Rutgers football, even if it's like a little bit of a step forward. It's going to help in the long run.
Just to clarify, Nate Zinn's role at Illinois, revenue campaigns manager, where he helped lead digital revenue generation efforts for Illinois in three key areas: email marketing, database growth, and market automation ecosystem. So a lot of digital stuff. He was also an assistant AD of marketing at West Virginia when she was there as well. So yeah, I'm not sure how that works out timing wise, but yeah, I think he'll probably be involved at least in some capacity.
Yep, I agree. I think we'll be seeing a lot of him because it seems like they're pretty involved with each other's work. All right, let's transition to practice 2 from Rutgers football. Obviously, not a whole lot can be said about what was happening at practice, but you guys did have the opportunity to speak to the transfer from Lafayette, Ryder Langsdale, this afternoon after practice, and also Kaj Sanders, the safety, sophomore safety, after practice as well. Let's start with Ryder Langsdale. Alec, what were some interesting quotes from Ryder in his little scrum today?
Yeah, we know he's a New Jersey guy, obviously from Ridgewood, went to Ridgewood High School, and then was at Lafayette. So he's been around for a while, but he gets to kind of be in his home state. He said he'd been going to games since he was like 5 years old, and he never really thought that, playing at Rutgers under Greg Schiano was really in the cards for him, since he, wasn't the highest rated guy in high school and things like that. But the fact that he's here now, it said he's learned a ton. That was, the fact that he's with Schiano and Coach Pat Flaherty as well, just learning from them. Yeah, it's been interesting. I also asked him, going up against a defensive line, a largely revamped defensive line, how that helps him be where he needs to be, kind of like an iron sharpens iron type thing. He said that they're big, they're definitely really good as well. They're Big Ten level, so it's only helping him get better too. So some good insights from Ryder Langsdale, and I do think it's interesting. I think he's definitely in contention for that left tackle spot, and I think the fact that we're talking to him this early in practice, I mean, he might. I don't know who has the advantage between it looks like him or Tyler Needham, from what I can guess, but it seems like he must be at least a good amount involved in that battle.
Yeah, and he did seem to give like a lot of short answers, but he did seem to have like a bit of personality that he was like kind of suppressing down, like trying to do the chop mentality, I guess, for not, saying anything too out of pocket, but he did seem to have little moments of, personality leak out.
Yeah, he's also one of those guys that hasn't really spoken to a lot of reporters before, so he's just kind of getting comfortable in that spot as well.
How about Kaj Sanders? You guys spoke to him. Obviously, last year he showed flashes, but this year he's kind of being relied on to solidify one of those safety spots. What were some things that Kaj had to say that perked your ears up?
Me? Okay, I guess I'll go first. Yeah, I thought for him, it's kind of all about confidence. Last year at this point, before he'd even played a game as a freshman, to this year, having that experience on the field's kind of helped his confidence. It's all about confidence with him. And he looked pretty good at times when he was on the field last year as well. So it's just getting that confidence up and making sure that, he's one of the, it's weird to say, but as a true sophomore, he's one of the more experienced guys in terms of their time at Rutgers. in that defensive back room because it's been kind of overhauled in the transfer portal. So, excuse me. So he is. So he's just, being one of those guys, one of the leaders in that room. Yeah, it's just all about confidence. I also asked him about Vic Hall, the new safeties coach. He said that he is really good with relating to the players. He kind of, he's kind of just like them. It seems like, and that seems like a lot of what people like about Vic Hall's intensity and the way he can kind of relate to the players. So that was something. Those are some things from Kaj Sanders that kind of stuck out. And yeah, like you mentioned, he's going to be relied on as the starting option. I mean, you got Jet Elad, who, the NCAA is trying to keep him out this year. I don't think it's going to work, in my own uneducated opinion. I don't think it's going to work. But and you got Jet Elad, who's coming in. You lose 3 starters at safety, or 3. I guess didn't start all of them, but 3 big time contributors at safety that were in the program for a while also. So yeah, it's he's going to be relied on, and just having that confidence up is going to be really important for him.
Rich, was there anything said from either Ryder's presser or Kaj Sanders that stuck out to you? I know you weren't there, but
no, I ended up going actually.
You did?
Wasn't going to go, then I ended up going. No, I think Ryder is, like Alex said, he's just kind of not used to the media perspective of things. So these things aren't on video, so you guys can't really see it to picture it. But just listening to him and talking to him, it just sounds like he was a little bit nervous. But he's massive. Number one, by the way, he's just a massive human being.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to mention. Yeah, we've talked to offensive linemen before, and obviously they're big, but with Ryder Langsdale in particular, my first thought was wow, this guy is absolutely huge.
Yeah, he's tall. He's got some muscle to him. He's definitely reshaping his body a little bit. You could tell from just photos online and everything. But I think the fact that they're giving us the opportunity to talk to him, someone else was talking to CJ Campbell. These are going to be key contributors. If Langsdale wins the job or not, I do think he's probably got a really good shot of winning that left tackle job, and that's where it throws this whole offensive line. I don't want to say for a loop, but it's going to help depth-wise, because now you have a guy like Needham that can play left or right. Then you have a guy like Taj White who's got experience at guard and tackle. So there's just so many different little things you could do now if he ends up winning that job. I think he was just very well-spoken. I think he was very talkative. Says the right things, grew up watching Rutgers, I think since he was 5 years old, you said. This is just a really solid New Jersey kid coming back home and really just enjoying the process. That's my dog going nuts.
I thought it was mine at first, but it's going to be exciting to see how that offensive line shakes out. It's one of my things I'll be keeping an eye on most closely through training camp, is how that unit gels together and how they decide to kind of align things out on the depth chart. That's kind of all I got. Anything else from you guys that you wanted to hit on before we head out?
We also got a surprise appearance from Greg Schiano today after practice because he just wanted to give his comments on Keli Zinn being hired as the athletic director, because when we talked to him on Monday, it hadn't been obviously made official yet. So he said he wanted to hold off until then, and so he did that today. He said he was excited for the opportunity to work alongside her. He said he hadn't known her, but he knows people who have worked with her, and much like we've talked about a lot since it kind of came to be, everyone kind of really speaks highly of her. They said that they've communicated a bit. And that's another thing that in the scrum after the press conference that Keli Zinn herself also said that, she hasn't, really gotten to meet up with him that much, but they've communicated, and they're both very excited to work alongside each other. That's
sorry.
That's all I got. So go ahead.
I'm intrigued to see how much or how quickly she's able to use the power of being athletic director. Because there is some coaches, and you could just do the math, that are probably getting close to the chopping block. And it's okay, you got to figure it out probably this season or you're done. Do you make a mid-season change if something's not working? It's going to be really interesting to see how much power she has early on. I know she's the athletic director. She's going to have obviously free will to probably fire and hire coaches whenever she wants. I'm really intrigued to see her first coaching search. You don't want to say that ever, because you want to have coaches that are going to be here for the long haul, long term, for every program. But it's going to inevitably happen, whether it's sooner or later. So I am intrigued to see how she does that. And I'm really intrigued to see how she can change the amount of revenue coming into the athletic department. Everything I've been told from the LSU guys, you could read that article. Great article, by the way. or I shouldn't even say great article because I didn't do much. It was all the quotes from the LSU guy. He gave some phenomenal quotes about how all she cares about is making money for athletic departments. Now, obviously, that comes with winning. Winning draws revenue. Winning draws money in. So it goes hand in hand, but it's all she cares about is making money. So she's going to do everything possible to make money for basketball, everything possible to make money with football. Is that getting new private suites that like Pat Hobbs was talking about, those temporary tents that he hinted at, that I don't think we ever actually saw. Like he said, it was going to be at the spring game, and I don't think we actually saw it at the spring game. And then he said it was going to be during the season. I didn't see it during the season. So
there were other reasons for that.
Well, yeah, he's too busy. I'm not even gonna go there.
Not gonna work here no more.
yeah, basically. So I'm intrigued to see how quickly she can get stuff like that together because football season is around the corner. Can we set up those little tents real quick and get it together and get more revenue and set up those empty spaces that I shouldn't say they're empty because I think WRSU had a little spot in that little thing next to the media booth, like that open space area that's like next to the booth, but it's not.
It's like the party deck, I think it's called.
Can you sell that more and be like, I don't think anyone even fucking knows about it unless you walk past it. Like,
I got to stick up for my WRSU guys. They still need their spot in the stadium. I'm not telling them to
kick them out, but I'm just saying, like, that's
Give
easy
them a
money
booth.
right there. If you set up like a booth, set up one of those little like rolly like coolers with beer and wine and everything. And I think people would pay good money for those seats because you're overlooking everything. You're right next to the press box. You might get to see the really cool, famous Night Report reporters walk by. And it's like, hey, guys, give me a beer. Not the point. But, I mean, it's like $15 for a beer now. I could use a free one. But either way, I just feel like there's so many little things like that they can draw revenue in and draw not just revenue, but the high money guys. And that's like I think it was something like Pat Hobbs said. It's like for every – it might not even be Pat Hobbs. It might be someone else. It's like for every luxury seat, it pays itself. It pays about 10 regular seats. Like it just pays itself with these luxury seating. So you got to figure out that for the football, for basketball. Football is more like, hey, it's around the corner. Figure it out now. But I'm just intrigued to see like what her first like big thing is going to be. Is it going to be that? Is it going to be something else? Is she going to just announce, hey, we're tearing it down. We're going to rebuild the rack. I don't know, but I'm just very intrigued to see like what her power move will be, I guess.
Yeah, and to go back to your first point, I think having a president who you've worked with, and obviously, president hires the athletic director most of the time, but having that experience and the confidence that President Tate has in her is going to make some of those decisions a lot easier to fully go out and make. I'm not saying that she's going to like be a little hesitant to do stuff early on, but having that familiarity and that alignment from top down from the president to the athletic director, it definitely gives you more confidence to make some of those tough decisions that may not be as popular to some, just having that alignment and that confidence in you. So I think that's why it was also so key to get someone that not only with her background, but also familiarity with the president as well, bringing those two at similar times. It's going to help make those decisions. It's going to help the confidence in those decisions as well.
Yeah, I mean, the one quote she had was like perfect. My vision for Rutgers is quite simple. The vision is clear. We didn't come here to compete. We came here to win conference and national championships. Boom.
Yeah, pretty clear mandate that they're expecting nothing but the best from Rutgers athletics, and I think that'll be a new level of accountability that I don't know if will have existed at Rutgers before, where they've together, President Tate and Keli Zinn have won 4 national championships in the last 4 years at LSU. Not that I expect that kind of immediate, translation to, the highest level of success, but they're not going to put up with anything less than, elevated levels of success, I guess I'll say. So any programs that are stagnating or things that aren't going in the right direction, I think will be course corrected fairly quickly. I don't think the leashes will be as long as they have been in the past, if I had to guess.
Nope.
But all right, well, that is all we've got for you guys today. I want to thank you once again for listening. Not sure when the next pod will be, probably on Friday, if I had to guess, after day 3 of training camp. Get a couple more players on record. Chiano, for those who are kind of following along at home, speaks to the media once a week. So I believe his next scheduled presser is on Monday of next week, right?
I'm not entirely sure on that because I think next week the schedule changes a little bit. And
okay.
I'm not sure if next week's the first scrimmage or if the week after, but it's getting close. And then when it's scrimmage time, we'll obviously talk to them post scrimmage, which is usually like a Friday or Saturday mostly.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks once again for listening, everyone. This has been another edition of the Net Report podcast. Signing off.